Welcome to Emerging Ease, where we will focus on unraveling the difficulties in the midst of our journey and move toward forward progress. This program is not meant to replace any form of therapy, and you are encouraged to seek out a mental health professional if necessary. Hey, how are y'all today? I am so happy to be here. For one, welcome to Emerging Ease. I'm your host, Keisha. Two, today is my birthday. Oh my gosh, I'm celebrating my birthday with y'all. And then on top of that, the topic we're going to be talking about today is amazing. So come on in and let's start. Now, make sure that if you have any questions, comments, even, feel free to put them in the chat. Also, you can email them to me at emergingease@gmail.com. If you miss a show or you want to replay a show, feel free to go to the Batchelor News.airtime.pro. Come on in and let's talk today about gratitude. All right. So we have, I think it was last week before last, I made a statement about gratitude journals and the importance of journals. And I have one of the ones here. The other one I actually started right then because I told y'all if I do the chat, if I encourage you all to do something, I'm gonna do it too. So this is another journal. I want to say I think I got it on Amazon that you can get or something like this. And on each day, it gives you a prompt. And especially if you're not a person that is used to journaling, something like this is really, really amazing because it gives you a quote, it gives you a space to write, and then also at the top of this one, it says, what I'm hanging hope on today. And I love, 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 love. I love that. And shucks, by the time you fill this up, you would be fine with starting a regular journal because you're already thinking about what the prompt is or what it is I want to write. Some people have journals that just focus on whatever's going on that day or whatever comes to my mind, I'm going to write it down, and those are fine. But specifically, I encourage you guys to do a gratitude journal. And I'll give you my little piece of my testimony about my gratitude journal. It has been going really, really well. I had a couple of frustrating days, but in writing in in that gratitude journal, I was sorry, I'm thinking gratitude is the new attitude. So, in writing in this gratitude journal, even during those rough times, I wanted to write about those rough times so bad. As a matter of fact, I said, you know what? I'm going to start because I want to see how this goes. By the end of it, I'm like, well, I'm thankful for this and I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful for this. And it caused me to realize that regardless of what's going on around us, we have to, with ourselves, be mindful of where we're at and what we have. Even though the situation may be difficult that you're experiencing, the people you're around may be frustrating the life out of you, but you have to really keep a refocus. And the thing is, even in the conversations that my husband and I have, because we have a neighbor the from the South Side, we'll call it that. And so even in talking about it, we'll talk about the frustration, but by the end of the conversation, we're laughing because it's like we refuse to allow that to take over. Now, I bring that up to say also be mindful about what you're taking in. So, as we talk today, and I look forward to some comments from you all, some questions, I want you to really be mindful about the way you take things in. Because you can't say, well, I just won't experience life. That's not possible. You're living, experiencing. But what you choose to do with those things that are impacting you or your environment, that's what we're talking about, how you choose to respond to it. So a quote that caught me And it makes me think, and this is another way, if you don't have a journal like this one, if you have like a notebook or just plain paper in your notebook, look up some quotes and start your entry off with a quote that's inspiring to you, especially regarding gratitude. So this one caught me. And it says, acknowledging the good that you already have in your life is the foundation for all abundance. And that hit me because I was like, there is a lot of good that happens in our lives all the time. And it's much more than because when I put the deal on Facebook, I said, well, make sure you don't start up every single entry out as well. The good that happened to me today is that I woke up. There's more good than that going on in your life, I guarantee you. And so when you're acknowledging it, it makes you, when you acknowledge something, it kind of makes you stop or pause and become very mindful of what's going on. So, like, for instance, if you walk into the room with someone and you acknowledge them by greeting them, not only are you saying to yourself, I see this person, I know this person has an impact or can have an impact on me. Also, I acknowledge that they're important. See that? And so when you acknowledge, you give the importance over to the good that you have in your life already. Already, it's already there. It's not coming. It's not if I send this chain letter to somebody through Facebook or if I sit up and shout 3 times, anything, the things that are already there. As y'all see, we're gonna talk about some of that too in the future, not today. But we'll talk about religious trauma as well. So when you acknowledge what's already there, those are the things that give you your stepping stones for one to get through the day, but then to also, when you come up on those obstacles in life, to really look at those obstacles and really kind of have a better way of how this can impact me, how this can weigh on me, how I choose to allow it to interact with me. So that is really, really, really awesome. And that quote is by Eckhart Tolle. Tolle. Um, Now, sometimes we get into a position in life to where we are so frustrated, so jaded, so stuck in a sense, feeling stuck, that we lose sense of gratitude and sense of hope because those go hand in hand. You have gratitude, hope is there. You have hope, you got gratitude. Okay. Because when you are able to recognize those two things in your life, you're able to say, because I've seen that I've overcome that, I'm thankful for it, and I know there's hope for my future. When you have hope for your future, that means I have gotten closer to whatever it is that I'm hoping for. And so I'm thankful for the things I've been able to do to get to reinforce and even maintain that hope. So they go hand in hand. Okay. With uh, trying to regain hope, because sometimes we hit rough patches in life, rough years in life. And that's something that is very difficult for many of us, especially now, is how do I get past all this negativity that's coming all day? Um, if you're on TikTok can be an awesome, awesome thing, and I'm gonna reference that in a little bit. But it can also be a difficult thing for many people because TikTok, depending on what you start watching, is gonna continue to send you whatever you've been watching. And so if you start watching something like a car wreck, it's gonna keep sending you negative, 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 negative. And you're like, dang. And now you're stuck on it because the algorithm is set up to where you're focused in and you're so laser focused you don't realize you've been watching this or pouring this into your spirit, your soul, your mind even for hours. Because I know I'm not the only person that's watched TikToks and laughed for hours on end and realized, like, oh, it's dark outside. Wait a minute, I missed the whole day because I'm sitting up here watching TikToks and watching people do crazy stuff because I love TikToks that make me laugh. Um, with regaining hope, we also have to look at many times when people say, oh, I'm just going through a rough patch, we think of a patch like this long, like maybe from Tuesday to Thursday, and that's over. Some people go through long-term difficulties, and it's not that difficulty or negativity is searching for them. It's that whatever it is that they need to move past or grow out of, either they're resisting that growth, or or that difficulty is necessary to continue in that longer path. Okay. So, with that being said, there's always the opportunity, regardless of where you're at in your life's journey, to identify what you're grateful for, to develop hope, redevelop hope. Okay, because sometimes, just like a plant, and just like ourselves, if we don't water it, it's gonna wither away. If you don't take care of yourself, you're gonna wither away whether you want to or not. Now, with regaining hope in your life, I encourage you to think about where you are now and be honest with yourself. What's going awesome? What's going not so awesome? And if you've listened to me for any amount of time, you notice that some words I don't use. One of which is the word bad, because bad can go so many different ways. And when we grab a hold of a word like that, we begin to internalize it. And so therefore we seek out the bad, the negative, the horrible. And oh, I can't believe this. Oh, I can't believe that. And then next thing you know, you're negative Nancy. I apologize to anybody named Nancy. I'm sorry. No offense. But you're or negative Ned there. Now Ned and Nancy can be in the same boat. I'm sorry, y'all. But with that, when you're holding on to all that negativity and you're holding on so tight, you have absolutely no room to open your hands to let go of that and be able to grasp something else, be able to hold on to something else. Now, when you're regaining hope, there's also the reminder that your hope lives within you. So before we go into looking at regaining hope, I want to make sure that you all listen this Friday at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time, with the featured artist will be Brian McKnight. Is Yeah, that's a good one. I love to listen to Brian McKnight. I've never been to a concert though of his. Also, every Sunday through Friday from 8 p.m. to midnight, please tune in and listen to Whisper Softly Love Songs on the Batchelor News Radio Network. Be back shortly.
Since Buffalo Wild Wings is always open late, here are a few things you'll enjoy. Buzzer beaters, wings in 21 signature sauces and seasonings, and great deals on food and beer. Grab select domestic draft beer starting at $4. $4 shareables like street tacos, fried pickles, chili queso dip, mozzarella sticks, and roasted garlic mushrooms, and deals on select liquor and house cocktails. Phew, that's a mouthful. Catch all of the late night action. Buffalo Wild Wings. Wings, beer, sports. Offers and participation vary. Please drink responsibly. Void where prohibited.
All right, y'all, welcome back. So, in regaining hope, we have to look at hope is like a lifeline for all of us. When you get up in the morning and you start your day, there's hope there because you're hoping for whatever that outcome is going to be from whatever happens in your day and that positive things happen. But we have to look at how we pour into ourselves and what we allow into our space. With that being said, one thing that I encourage everyone to always do is limit the amount of news you listen to. I don't know if you're like me, but on my phone, I get news alerts, and I've had to cut many of them off because some of them started with, oh, I just want to know weather, storm info, and forgot to cut it off. And so now I'm getting like, and this wreck happened, and this negative, and this negative, and this negative. And I don't understand why news does that nowadays, other than to attempt to get more people to look at their stations and their shows to gain ratings. But it pours so much negativity into you. So be mindful that limit your news intake. Limit it, limit it, limit it. Um, if you have the ability to, even with friends, and I say ability because it's something you have to practice with friends or family. If they get to just going on and on and on, and all it is negative, 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 cut it off. Let them know, hey, during our conversation today, especially if they have a history of being a negative person, during our conversation today, we're only going to talk about two negative things. Once you say what it is and how it was negative for you, let's move to the next one. What it is, how it was negative for you, and let's move on and talk about something other than negative. Because the thing with the negative is that when we're communicating with other people, whether you're the listener or you're having a conversation, you're allowing yourself to receive the energy that's going back and forth, okay? So if that person is only giving negative, 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 all you're taking in or having blown in your face or put in your face is negative, negative, negative. At some point, you're like, yeah, this is kind of difficult. And that's this, blah, blah, blah. So I really, really encourage limit your negative, negative information. Period. If it's a person that you can't get to a point to where they'll say, you know what, I'll respect this boundary you set, end the conversation and move somewhere else. In speaking with them or talk to somebody else. But you can control what you take in. Talk to people who are full of hope. One thing that I love and I'm thankful for, might be in my gratitude journal today too, is the people that I've been blessed to have in my life. The people that I've been blessed to have in my life. Now, I've had some negative Nancy's and some negative Neds. Don't get me wrong. It's not been all rosy with people. But I've been blessed to have people that will, for one, help me refocus on my hope, help me refocus my energy from negative, and even remind me, hey, Keisha, stop watching the news or stop, talking to that person. Take a break. Um, and I do the same for them. Also, they're they're like a light in my life. Many of the people that I have in my life, because I am allowed or I get to listen to how they overcame something, and that reinforces my hope. When I see somebody else win, I'm like, oh my gosh, yes. Now tell me how you did it. And so that is something I encourage everyone to do. Find some people that can encourage your hope, can water your hope, can, I mean, give you some tips on how to keep your hope safe and protected. Also with outlooks, I want to talk to you guys about your outlook on life. Sometimes we don't see down the road very well. I will be the first to say I didn't see down the road very well. I was very much at the age of 25. I thought 25 was it for me because of some horrible choices I had made, some horrible things that had occurred in my life. And so I thought 25 was it. So the fact that, I'm celebrating this birthday today, this is amazing. This is amazing because I'm almost, not yet, so y'all don't give me any extra years. I'm almost double 25. And that's amazing. That is amazing. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't any bumps, bruises, emotionally, spiritually, physically, all of that. But through it all, there was always that glimmer of hope. Okay. It's not always going to be a big, huge, bright ball of light. Sometimes it'll be just a little flicker, but to hold on to that. Um, I always encourage people, especially, and I do it every birthday. Actually, I try to encourage myself to do it every 6 months. And what I do is I reach out to people that have had a big impact on my life, whether that's through instant messenger, text message, call them on the phone, however I need to get in touch with them. But I reach out to several people every birthday, and then every 6 months. So I just say every 6 months. Um, and I let them know how thankful I am for them and how they've impacted me by being a friend, by allowing me to see their life experiences and trusting me to be a person to encourage them and to support them. So, with that being said, I encourage all of you to start thinking and even doing that. That changes stuff up so tremendously when you're able to communicate with the person, and not just for you as a change, but it's a change for that person. because what it does is it allows them to see their importance. It allows them to see the impact that they have on other people just through their life experiences and just through sharing a common connection. That has been one of the most awesome things to do. So I encourage everyone to always do that. I encourage you also to support your own hope. Take some time for yourself. We are so, so, so overly connected these days. And we almost feel like, dang, I can't get away. My phone is right here. I'm not going to make a call, not going to answer a call, text message. But if you are like me, your phone is always within reach. And your mindset may be, well, it's because if my kids call, if my husband calls, if my wife calls, if my grandmother or my parents or anybody, and if something happens at work, I need to be able. Let me tell you something. If somebody's having an emergency, and I have had to tell myself this too, if somebody's having an emergency and they're calling me, you have called the wrong person because I'm not the one to call in an emergency. I'm not good with emergencies because I'm gonna ask a whole bunch of questions and waste a whole bunch of valuable time before it even dawns on me, hey, let me call 911. But challenge yourself to disconnect. Challenge yourself. Even with me, I will go and plug my phone up in a whole other room just to disconnect because I have to catch myself sometimes. I get so wrapped up, like I said, in TikTok because I always want to find something to laugh at. That I look up and I realize I haven't said anything to my husband, I haven't said anything to my kids. We're watching a program together and I missed part of because I sit over here giggling and laughing about these memes and these TikTok videos. Let me go put this phone away. So I encourage you to disconnect. Also, take time to disconnect for self and to think about what are you identifying as your growth? What are you identifying as what you're thankful for, what you're grateful for? What is your hope looking like? Does it look like it needs to be watered? And I always encourage people, even if you're not an outdoors person, go sit outside. It's something about fresh air, sunlight, nature that can help you refocus and rekindle hope that is phenomenal. Um, I encourage you to do that. Also, think about the way you think. Sometimes we can think in a very negative way. If this happens, then that's going to happen, and that's going to happen, and that's going to happen. Well, that's not the only path. It's always a positive or a negative. And sometimes the negative things that we think are going to happen, and if they do happen, really it turns out to be a positive for you. So just kind of refocus on the way you think. Refocus. The thing I'm going to close out with is compliments. One thing I encourage you all to do, to try to do, to start doing, even if it's small, start giving genuine, sincere compliments to other people. Not a double-edged compliment like, well, you look wonderful, but a genuine, straightforward, sincere compliment. Not only does that support that person and whatever they're going through, it pours back into you. You know how you can pour something out into another and some slides down the side, and you're like, oh, dang, I spilled some. That's what's pouring back into you, what's sliding down the side. And so, in doing that, it does not take anything away from you, but it allows us also to refocus on what we see as light, what we see as positive. I will always encourage people, even that person that's out in public and they're all balled up in the face, like, like, because I do that often when I'm thinking or trying to concentrate, or at the age I am trying to see. um, that can turn that person's whole world around. I always encourage people to speak to strangers that are safe. Okay, so don't speak to someone in a dark alley by yourself and they're trying to attack you. That's not the people talking about. I'm talking about if you're going past somebody in Walmart and they have on something nice. Oh, I like your whatever you have on. Or hey, have a good day. Those small things can do so much for that person as well as for you. So I encourage you. Because then also what it allows you to do is start to be able to better receive genuine, sincere, straightforward compliments. And that's what it's all about, improving self. Well, y'all, I want to thank y'all so much, so much for tuning in with me today. And if you have any questions, comments after the show, please feel free to email me at emergingease@gmail.com. And I hope today's discussion has been and will continue to be helpful in your life's journey. And thank y'all for tuning in today on my birthday. Yay! I will see you all next week on Emerging Ease with me, Keisha, your host. Have a good day.
Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you for taking such a time as this to participate in your personal improvement with Emerging Ease. I'm Keisha, your host. Remember that in everything, there's an opportunity to learn and grow. If you are experiencing a difficult time, please reach out to the National Crisis Prevention Hotline at 1-800-273-8255. And I look forward to hearing from you next week on Emerging Ease with Keisha.